Coach Sean Miller of the Arizona basketball program with Armin and Levac on 104.5. The team, and this weekend, Levac, is the 2015 Howard Garfinkel Coaching Clinic held right here in the Capital Region at Shin High School Gym, sponsored by the Upstate New York Basketball Hall of Fame. You got to go to this, garfclinic.com for more information. And Arizona men's basketball coach Sean Miller is part of one of the many big names that will be there this weekend. Coach Miller, thanks for joining us. How are you looking forward to coming to Albany this weekend?
I'm really looking forward to it on a number of different levels. First of all, I had the great pleasure of coaching both Lionel Chalmers and Mark Lyons, Lionel at Xavier when I was an assistant coach, one of my all-time favorite guys, and then obviously Mark Lyons coaching him both at Xavier and here at Arizona. So I think anytime I get a chance, and it's not often I do, to go up into the area where those two guys are from, obviously respect basketball in that area and everything that it stands for in a big way. And then, I think the second part of it for me is nobody respects Howard Garfinkel more than myself. He ran five-star basketball camp for so many years, and it happened to be about 20 minutes from where I grew up, and it's a big reason why I'm a college coach today and fell in love with the game of basketball at a young age.
Coach, when I look at your program, the Arizona Wildcats, you crushed it last year. Fantastic year. What has made it so? What has made your program so successful as of late?
Well, we've recruited really well, really about the last 3-4 years, and that's where it starts. Obviously, not only a very talented group of kids, but we also had great kids, high character, and a group of guys that, in addition to wanting to become NBA players themselves, which I think is everybody's goal, especially at this level, they were willing to sacrifice and try to play for a national championship, a Pac-12 championship, and we've kind of rode that, and hopefully we can continue what we've done well, especially on the recruiting front moving forward.
Coach Sean Miller of the Arizona basketball program, he'll be here this weekend for the 2015 Howard Garfinkel Coaching Clinic, garfclinic.com for more information. Coach, here on the East Coast, we hear all about the ACC and the Big Ten. Is the Pac-12 basketball conference underrated?
I think at times it is, maybe from the East Coast's perspective, and I have a pretty good feel for that because that's where I'm from, and being out here now 7 years. The one thing that's just, it is what it is. It's different. The time change of 2 and 3 hours certainly affects people on the East Coast being able to really watch Pac-12 basketball as easily as they watch the other leagues that you mentioned. And in some cases, vice versa, where people on the West maybe aren't quite as familiar because things happen earlier in the day. But, the last couple of years, it might surprise you to hear this, but we've had a number of teams in the Sweet 16. For example, last year, UCLA, Utah, and Arizona. 2 years ago, Oregon, UCLA, Arizona. I think when you start getting 3 teams in the Sweet 16 and 5 or 6 teams out of 12 in the NCAA tournament, you have a very, very good league. And, we all look in June towards the NBA draft as a barometer for a lot of things. But when you look at the talent that's left our conference over the last 10 or 20 years, it's shocking the great players that are playing in the NBA. Whether it's Russell Westbrook from UCLA or James Harden from Arizona State, and certainly the last couple of years, Stanley Johnson, Aaron Gordon. We've had a great run of talent, and I think that this coming year we may have the best year in our conference in a long time.
Coach, I'm glad to hear that because I clearly did not know enough last year. You blew up my bracket. I clearly need to get over my East Coast bias, right?
Well, you know what? You grow up, in the area that you guys grow up in, and back in the day, the old Big East, Coach Boeheim being a pioneer of that conference, I got a pretty good feel for why you feel the way that you do, And then, by the way, people in this area, especially in the state of California, they're equally biased towards Arizona and UCLA and the great powers that have been out here for many years.
Of course, the Arizona basketball program last year winning the Pac-12 and going all the way to the Elite Eight. Coach Sean Miller of the Arizona basketball program, he'll be here this weekend, the 2015 Howard Garfinkel Coaching Clinic. And, Coach, he'll be speaking with Jay Wright, Tom Thibodeau, Jim Calhoun. Give us some grub on one of these guys. How are you guys buddies? How much do you look forward to doing these things?
Well, like I said, I mean, it's for the right person, Howard Garfinkel, and he asked me, I think in the month of February, if I would do it. And of course I would do it. I think any of us in coaching, especially in my generation, really reflects back of the importance of Garf and five-star basketball camp across the board, coaches, players alike. It's changed the game in many ways. And in terms of some of the coaches, obviously Coach Calhoun, and he'll be able to talk about this. I played against him for 4 years while I was at Pittsburgh, and he was building the UConn program, and you have great respect for him. And ironically, we met in the Elite Eight a few years ago when Kemba Walker won the national championship. We lost on the last possession out here in California. So it was a lot of fun to go from playing against him as a player, 19 years old, and then catching him on what was his last national championship. And really ditto for Jay Wright. He would have been an assistant coach at Villanova and working his way up when I was a player. And I respect those guys a great deal.
Very cool. Sean Miller, coach of Arizona basketball. And, Coach, you're on Twitter, at UA Coach Miller. You like Twitter?
Sometimes I like it. At first when you don't know about it, you tend to read what everybody's saying, and about 10 minutes later you figure out that's not healthy for a basketball coach. So I think I use it as much to send messages out about our players, our program, the family, and people that you respect, as opposed to dealing with it on a daily basis. You can really be in that neighborhood of make-believe if you let it happen.
Well, hey, our listeners send nothing but positive and overwhelmingly very just kind stuff to us, if you can believe that, right?
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On your home for New York sports. Nothing but that. The 2015 Howard Garfinkel Coaching Clinic this weekend at the Shin Gym. Go to garfclinic.com. Sean Miller will be there along with Jay Wright, Tom Thibodeau, Jim Calhoun, and many others. It's going to be a great weekend. Coach, thank you so much for stopping by today, and good luck next season. Go get them.
Thank you. It's 90 degrees out here in Arizona. Are you in the 40s yet, or do I need to leave my winter coat here?
It is currently 82, but this morning it was down in the 50s. I would bring a little light jacket.
Great. I look forward to the change of pace.
We got your change of pace this weekend, Coach.
See ya.
All right.
Thank you.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach.